Luis Obispo, home of the Fremont Theater and Slow Brew Rock, mother of Shabang Music Festival and birthplace of up-and-coming artists.
At the heart of SLO's local culture lives a bustling music scene. Local musicians fill the farmers market with the SLO sound. Cal Poly students search for house shows to see local bands on Saturday nights, and restaurants and live bars are booming with live music. Nestled in the Central Coast between San Francisco and Los Angeles, San Luis Obispo is a destination for famous performers traveling around the country.
Here at KCPR 91.3, we are lucky enough to be a part of this unique culture of music.
We get the inside scoop on up-and-coming bands and local music destinations, and now we have a chance to share it with you here on SLO-Fi, presented by KCPR 91.3.
On SLO-Fi, we'll dive into artists' backgrounds and creative processes, as well as share some of our own opinions and analyses.
And today, we got the chance to talk to a local artist, Cate Armstrong, about her new EP, Inner Child, which released on September 15th. We also talked about her being a solo artist amongst all these bands in SLO and more. So with that,
I'm JP Boiler.
And I'm Rachel Kupfer-Weinstein. During Cate's senior year here at Cal Poly, she began fronting a band that you may know, Purple Hibiscus.
Cate's whole family has musical talents, but she attributes her first inclination into getting into music through her grandpa playing the piano when she was growing up.
Yeah, so I would say I dated back to my grandfather, Geep, who started playing piano when he was 6, played until he was 89, and that was just kind of the foundation of the music in my family, and I would say I have a lot of it in my family. So my dad plays the drums, my uncle plays piano, my cousin plays the keys, and I'm sure I'll talk about my cousin more later because I collaborated with him on my recent project, but I just kind of witnessed it growing up and always loved to sing since I was a kid. And I've been in choir since I was in kindergarten, so kind of have always been singing. But I never really took the leap to allow myself to be a full musician really until college. And that started with the band I was in, Purple Hibiscus, my senior year of college. And that was such an amazing opportunity to just kind of test my bounds with what I was capable of, and kind of found out that I loved fronting a band and had a lot of fun just engaging the crowd and, allowing that space to be a form of expressiveness. But
there was a lot about performing live music that Cate found out she really enjoyed while singing for Purple Hibiscus, and a big part of that was the exchange of energy.
Like I said, to have that with my family and have a pretty strong family base that I'm extremely grateful for, and getting to share that with people on stage or just, music taste in general. It's a pretty special thing.
She also finds a lot of joy in being able to put her feelings into songs and then playing them for other people.
I think for myself and a lot of other songwriters, it's almost this secret language where you feel like you write a song and you don't even really know where it came from, but it's just a source of getting out those complicated feelings. And I think for me, at least, when I get to perform those with people and have them, one, be heard, especially those most vulnerable things that you don't always share with people, it can be such a beautiful way to kind of break that divide of the artist and the audience member, because there may be somebody in the crowd who's had a similar experience but may not have been able to put it into words in that way. And so that's really one of my favorite parts is getting to connect with people like that. And like you said, beyond just the vibe of being excited and creating the energy, but getting to create a medium where people can feel something that they didn't even necessarily know that they needed to feel, and go from there and allow it to be just this journey of connectedness with the people that I share my music with, really.
Although Purple Hibiscus was where Cate made all these really valuable discoveries, she left in 2022 to pursue her solo career.
In terms of transitioning from Purple Hibiscus to this, it kind of was a natural transition just because I graduated, I took a gap year, I did a whole bunch of different stuff that kind of allowed me to return back to myself of realizing that I wanted to pursue music a little bit more seriously. So.
Purple Hibiscus was a band with a R&B soul sound, and definitely a different direction than where Cate is going now with her more indie, acoustic, alternative rock sound. At least those are the only words I can find to describe her sound.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Her new EP, Inner Child, songs range from soft, sweet sonic valleys to more climactic auditory hills.
Okay. That was impressive.
That was quite linguistic.
Vocabulary.
Fair. Yeah, pretty damn intimidating, I'm not going to lie. And not for any one particular reason. Like, you've all interacted with all the bands in SLO. Like, they're amazing. They have their communities. They're so well established.
They're called the vibe setters. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah. So there's a lot of that going on already. But I think what kind of, prompted me to get into it was really also just this form of activism. Like, I think being a woman in the music scene in SLO, I've had a lot of like discomfort with navigating particular spaces, and that's not any one band or like the scene in general's challenge, but just like something that I wanted to look inward and consider, like, okay, why am I intimidated? Like, these are really welcoming people and a really welcoming space. So like, why don't I try to just like live my values into life by like being the one who's like maybe a little bit like out on my own in this way.
I kind of like how she just asked why she's intimidated. Like, she's introspectively looking into like, why is she doing that? And then she's actively choosing to be a little bit scared and be a solo artist just to prove to other people that if they're feeling that way, at least she's one of the people that's not letting it control her life.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot to be said about just doing stuff that scare you. That's doing something that scares you, and like going into it head first. And because I think where a lot of discovery, especially as an artist, comes from is like outside of your comfort zone. You can't really get a lot of, at least like impactful stuff done inside of that zone. So yeah, I respect that a lot.
She did Battle of the Bands. Like, it's not an easy feat,
Yeah.
I mean, and everyone, it's called Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
It was just her, right?
Well, she was the only solo artist.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Is like just
Huge.
the contrast between, it's the Battle of the Bands. So I'm sure when she came on, people were like, "What the f-?
Yeah, but she went out there and killed it.
Yeah.
Cate's musical influences are definitely on two different ends of the spectrum. On one hand, she's into a lot of like singer-songwritery stuff, like Maggie Rogers, who is a personal favorite of mine. When she said that, I was like so excited. And Alanis Morissette on that one end of the spectrum. And then on the other, her dad exposed her to bands like Pearl Jam and Nirvana growing up.
Definitely a mesh of different worlds. So I definitely like mixing the like singer-songwriter energy with the more like upbeat pop rock kind of styles, so kind of finding a merge between those.
Cate's music definitely reflects this kind of multifaceted sound. Her debut single, Found, is definitely more in that acoustic, vocal-based realm. Her voice and her guitar being the loudest in the mix, with the occasional support from some percussions, makes for a more authentic, very grounded sound.
Yeah, totally. So I will say this. When I released Found, I really had no intention to. I recorded it with my friend Pablo from Couch Dog, and he did an amazing job. Shout out Pablo. But he was the one who was like, you should just release this. Like, come on, like, let's be honest, just start. And I was scared to, but I did. And that's really like where I start with my songwriting, is like on that acoustic level. Like, I write all my songs on my acoustic guitar.
And then the jump from that to the second single that she put out, Info Overload, was mostly about her discovering like what she wanted her sound to be. After ripping that Band-Aid off and putting out Found, Cate was ready to put more instrumentation behind her songs and give them a little bit more depth.
She was able to work with her cousin, who's a producer, and he had the tools to get her music to another level of expression.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
That's not the right audio clip.
Not the one you wanted.
Nope.
Right?
Did that work?
Yeah.
It was really special because I got to bring, these bare bones of songs in a weekend in Boston with him and just kind of figure out how to, make them into the energy that I wanted to. So using all the different instruments and, we worked for months and months and months on this, but it was really to just like amplify the energy of what I had originally written into a different direction. And at the core of all of this, it's like, this is for my self-expression. So like, yes, I could do the acoustic, but I also like, why not do something else? Like, I know that there's pressure to kind of like stay in a genre to like, mold your fan base, which is definitely a concern, but also like, I'm just exploring and I'm having fun doing it.
Even though Cate was able to find a new level of her sound using new instruments and aspects of production, at her core, she is a lyricist.
You know, lyrics can tell such a story that, like, you know, not everybody always has time to, like, sit down and, like, read lyrics and, like, understand what they are. So I like the merge of those because I love to dance. I love to have fun. I love to, like, have that enthusiastic spirit. But, like, I'm also a very introspective person. So, like, I go deep with my thinking and I go deep with my lyrics. So finding a centerfold between those is definitely something I try to do. But it can be tricky because not everybody cares about lyrics all the time.
This inherent writer side of Cate is absolutely present in her new EP, Inner Child. Move Through Me, the second song on the EP after Info Overload, tells the story of the journey that an emotion can take you on.
You know, if you've been avoiding something, like, it's just going to get to a certain point where, like, you just can't avoid it anymore. And so for me, when I wrote that, I was just in a pretty foggy state, like, just didn't really feel grounded, didn't really feel connected to what I was doing. And so it was kind of just like a last call kind of song where I was like, I need to write this because I need to get, like, some kind of energy back so I can get my groove back.
Something that I thought was interesting and speaks to how natural of a songwriter that Cate is how the song actually started becoming a sonic version of her going through this, like, negative state to a more positive area of her life.
Like, the beginning of the song is very just, like, soft and, like, more somber, but my vision with it was I wanted the listener to feel like you could see me kind of, like, moving through that as the song went on. And so by the end, I was like, well, shit, I'm alive. Like, I can feel stuff, so that's good. At least I'm not depressed. But that's just a really important thing for me to explore and for me to talk about, because that's not always the easiest thing to navigate when you're in that space, and also just to talk about in general. Like, yes, we all have emotions, but, like, talking about it can be pretty inaccessible sometimes. So I wanted to actualize that feeling into a song so I could showcase that, like, you know, when you're feeling all of this, like, tension and overwhelm and yada, 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 or whatever it is, like, it's going to have to get to a point of, like, surrendering to it.
Cate wrote it in December of 2021, so she had been sitting on it for a while.
And it's one of those songs that I would always sing at open mic nights. Like, I love it so much, but it kind of took a different shape in this project because it was kind of like the stepping stone, I feel like, between Info Overload and Inner Child.
Inner Child, the title track, closes out the EP with a beautiful message of honoring the things that bring you joy. The inspiration for it struck while Cate was on a yoga retreat in Guatemala.
That kind of was just a time where I, like, had more clarity and could hear myself a little bit better and could, like, really feel these, like, excitements that I was wanting to pursue, like, in music and wanting to just, like, test that out. And so a lot of it just kind of came from that feeling of, like, what are those things that, like, you dreamed about when you were a kid that you maybe haven't given yourself the space to, like, actualize?
The night that Cate finished the song, she was alone in her room, dancing and putting on makeup and allowing herself to feel that, like, childlike joy. This moment led to the realization that the only person holding herself back from her dreams was actually her.
Really, at its core, is an encouragement both for myself and other people to, like, not let go of that spirit and really, like, lean into the things that you're excited about, because if you don't do it now, like, you might regret it. And so I just really want to empower myself and other people to follow their dreams at their core.
By design, Inner Child carries the spirit of the whole EP.
I do really think that the, like, energy of Inner Child lives in all the songs because, you know, like I was saying, like, it's all about emotional regulation. And sometimes, like, we've felt things as kids that we either didn't heal or, like, we did allow ourselves to express fully as kids. And so kind of just, like, owning that, like, processing, I suppose. Like, in Info Overload, like, it's big, it's, like, in your face, it's more abrasive, and, like, allowing myself to, like, go there when I need to, and, like, not just being this, like, perfect girl who can handle anything and is, like, super happy and sunshine all the time, but, like, no, I feel shit too, and, like, I want to let that out, and I want to show you that I can. And that's honoring my inner child as well, because, you know, she wants me to feel this stuff too, so I can get to the core of, like, what's in store for me in life. So it's all connected.
Speaking of what's in store for Cate, she let us in on what her next steps are as a musician.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm on like a songwriting kick right now. I feel like I write a new song like every day. It's so special. So definitely some kind of project coming in the future. I would love to produce an album. Would love to work with Griffin.
If you are a dedicated listener, you might remember Griffin from episodes we did with Couch Dog and the Sandspits, etc. He goes by FPH Food Product on Instagram, which is a funny handle. Hi kids, this is Rachel. Griffin's handle on Instagram is actually FH Food Product, not FPH Food Product. So that's a little correction. Go check him out. He's really cool. And now on with the show. But he's a local music producer, and he has recently procured a studio that he is recording local bands in. This is crazy. He's actually already booked out until December, like as of the time we're recording this, which is late October. So that's
Dang.
like really sick.
Yeah. He's like the head honcho in terms of producing in SLO, right?
I would say it's him, and then there's also Yvonne, who's doing the kind of recording studio that we've talked about in episodes like the Sandspits. But
Okay.
yeah, it's like him and Yvonne here for local bands.
Dang. Okay. Well, Griffin, making the bag. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. We talked with Cate about working with Griffin, and she kind of, this new studio, she explained it sort of like Abbey Road. Like it's so beautiful. It's doesn't really look like Abbey Road Studios, but it's kind of that spirit of like all these really, really cool bands are probably going to record there, and there's going to be a lot of history. But it's this gorgeous
But it's
studio.
new, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yet to have history.
Right.
But, I mean,
We'll get it.
yeah.
If all goes
We will
goes
get
right.
it. Yeah. Okay. That's sick.
But because she mentioned working with Griffin, I asked her if she might be down to do a collab with local bands, and she had a really cool idea.
Would say in particular, like I've always like wanted to have a girl group, like a girl band, and I think it would be really fun to get like all the girl musicians in town together to do some kind of fun project, just to like, have a little moment. So that'd be cool. So any lady musicians in SLO, reach out.
That's awesome. I think that would be so sick.
That would be really cool. Yeah, I really like the idea that an all-girl band could be in SLO, like much like Pussy Riot or some more explicit, very emotive band. I think that would actually be really cool with their balaclavas. Besides working with Griffin, she also wants to vary the way that she impacts the world.
Because I have like a mental health intersection too, an activism intersection, like a lot of my music goes hand in hand with that. So like a lot of just like conversation starting, and I would love to do some like dialogue groups around some of these themes. So kind of just like testing out a different way of, doing music. So a little bit of everything, I would say.
Thank you so much to Cate Armstrong for joining us in the studio. We are psyched to see what she has coming down the pipeline. You can find her on her Instagram at CateyLady. That's CateyLady, and her music anywhere you stream your music.
And thank you for listening to SLO-Fi. Don't forget to check us and our other podcasts, The Roundup, CP101, The Gallop, and Different Matters out at kcpr.org/podcasts. You can find KCPR on our Instagram and Twitter at KCPR913 and our Facebook at KCPR. We are also stationed 91.3 on the radio. Thanks again for tuning in.
Bye.